All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's multiple mediums to get this information, but the best place is the blog. And you can find the blog at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And I just wanted to show you. Now I'm on a computer, obviously, but but it's pretty much the same on phones and tablets too. So this was the last video I did, birth of a new banking entity. But see this more? See how so it's under the video. So you may have to figure out how to shrink the video so you can see the word more. You click on the word more, and the first link will be to the blog. Then you click there and it'll take you to the blog. And then here you can see the ways to support me if you'd like. And then I usually have a portion of the first article on the blog there. And then you can disregard that. Those are search terms. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to go over that because maybe not everyone knows that. All right. And I suppose it would be the same on other sites. It just would be a different word. Info, intro, description. So you look for that and click on that. It won't have as much because there's some sites where they don't like you promoting your Cashapp or your PayPal. So, but I almost always try to have a link to the blog. All right, because the blog is where you can follow along as I read the articles. So today is Saturday, January 11th, 2025. It's early enough in the day where this should post for January 11th. So the first article, and yeah, well, whatever. It says Trump envoy. Oops, I try not to say his name. Oh well. Expected to visit. That's my phone. Uh-oh. I have to get back to them. Okay. The T-Man's envoy expected to visit Iraq with security message for Sudani. So, the reason I made this the top article, well, it has a picture for one thing, but remember, what did I say in the last video? Sudani went to Iran, and we know he took messages, right? So now he gets whatever response from the different people he met with, probably mostly Khomeini. But so now he's back home, and now this envoy, who it says they're gonna visit soon, but they could already be there, right? Matter of fact, I think it says in an unpublicized visit. So last week, another source disclosed that Sudani had already received a message from the T-Man via a special envoy in an unpublicized visit. So see, that's what they do. They, well, I think the T-Man may have a fear, or maybe he's been instructed not to go to Iraq. He went once, but he went to an American base in the cover of night. Remember that? I'm trying to think of the other presidents. I didn't really pay attention, but I know they have specifically made a big deal about him, this president, during his first term, he did not make any official visits to Iraq. I don't know if any of the others did or not, but they specifically pointed out that he did not. So we'll see. Will it be different this time? But anyway, though he's not officially in office, we can see there's negotiations or something going on between him and the leaders of Iraq. And I think that's a good thing, right? Because maybe they're doing, and I do believe that they're mostly talking about the militias, the armed militias that are in Iraq, but backed by Iran. Probably the nuclear stuff with Iran. But I'm hopeful that there is some economic talk during this also. But I think the economic talk is probably the easiest, right? We're asking Iran to give up a stronghold. Their armed militias in Iraq have been a stronghold, and I believe we're asking them to give that up. We're probably trying to limit their influence on Syria also, which would be what? Money, right? It would be money and power. And I think those things are more difficult to secure agreement on than the money, the economy, right? But anyway, yeah, so and it's a pattern. And so once I point this out, and I have pointed it out before, but I know there's new people that are new to me, new to the whole Dinarland thing. And as you'll see, I don't do rate and date. I don't do the fluff. I don't post sirens and flames, and I don't add stuff into the articles. I just show you what's in the articles and give my little input because I've been reading these articles for years, reading and translating. And so this is a pattern. And like I said, I think this is a good thing. Forward movement even. All right. And so this is interesting also. Among them is the Iraqi Alina. They shortened her name, but I call her Hubba Hubba because she's so beautiful and well endowed in some places, whether they're real or fake, I don't know. But so she's a Iraqi, and they're very proud of her. Let's see if they no, they still didn't. I think it's Habania, something like that. There's more letters to her last name. But so there's going to be a meeting. Leaders of the Arab and Muslim American community revealed that a meeting will be held between the president-elect and his vice president. Look, they messed his name up. 2 letters. How do you mess up 2 letters? But that's because, and let me take time to say, someone left a comment saying I don't know too much. Well, because we don't know. These articles are written, they're a snapshot of a time. Because 2 hours later, things could be totally different. So when we read these articles, we have to know that they're a story that's being told that they want us to believe. And that's it. And then also keep in mind, these are Arabic. They're written in Arabic. They're being translated by AI, not even a human, right? And Arabic is not an easy language to translate. You could take 3 humans, give them the same article in Arabic, and then ask them to tell you what they read. And all 3 will say something different. So it's not totally different, but just their point of view and whatever. So that's why I don't want people to hold too tightly to any of this, because in an instant things change, right? So that's why I say that. I say this is what it seems to be saying to me, but I don't know. Another article could come out later and say something totally different. So that's the explanation of that. All right, but anyway, so yeah, this meeting is going to be held 2 days before the inauguration. So isn't that interesting? Is it a thank you dinner? Yeah, honors his supporters. All right, so that's that. This is, what the heck was that? Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I don't know if you heard. There was a loud boom, and then the dog was barking, so I had to go check. But it was nothing. I don't know. Well, I'm sure it was something, but nothing that's affecting us. So back to business. All right. So I just put this here. You don't really have to read this, but Sudani wants to activate other sectors. This one was tourism, because that'll be a non-oil source of income. And yeah, so that's what that article is. 21 tourism projects, but also some of them are stalled too. And actually, there's someone, actually, I know some of you guys read that guy on Twitter, and he put out some stuff. I mean, I can't tell you don't read him, but he's one of the people that I call a pumper, and reading into articles things that aren't there. So there's always going to be people complaining about Sudani, especially the Iranian-backed politicians. Look, politics. Poly means many, and the tick is a blood-sucking insect, right? Anyway, so things like that, that's a distraction. We don't, Sudani may be as crooked as Maliki for all we know. But as long as things are moving forward, who cares, right? I don't care about that. That's a distraction, and it shouldn't put you on a roller coaster. And might I say, if something that you're reading puts you on a roller coaster, maybe don't read it. Maybe don't read it, okay? Because it's not worth it. It really isn't. We have no control over this. None. So live your life like live your life like this is never going to happen, but also be ready if it does happen tomorrow, right? All right. So this was big news. This right here is the finance minister, whatever her first name is. I just call her Miss Sammy because I can pronounce Sammy. She did go before Parliament and answer questions, and they're showing it on the TV. Even like in their little news, like they'll have a 15-minute end of the hour news update where they're showing things, and they're showing this meeting here. So they did talk about the budget. I don't think she brought the budget. I'm going to show you, there's another article. But she did answer questions, and you can see it's pretty long here. Members of the Parliamentary Oil and Gas Committee were there. So yeah, so they asked her a lot of questions. And remember, is Monday the 13th? I guess it is, yeah. So Monday the 13th, the general budget law, and hopefully these budget schedules are on the agenda to have their second reading done. So I think there's another article, But if not, I'll try to remember to say what I was going to say. All right, 2025 budget is on the verge of legislation, and delaying the schedules will not stop the decision. The decision of what? I don't know. And usually when they write an article, they usually put the heading in the first sentence, and it's not there. But they still have to move on. So what I think it is, what says right here, you can see right here, the delay in the arrival of the tables will not affect the course of the budget legislation, indicating that the next legislative session will be quieter due to the preoccupation of the representatives with the elections, which will reduce their attendance at the sessions. So regardless if they approve the budget or not, there's a law or, yeah, it must be a law, a backup procedure. How about that? There's a procedure that they follow that's in the Constitution in lieu of the current budget, right? So it's not going to hold up things. People are still going to get paid, right? Well, if they're getting paid. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, yeah, here's the article. What is the justification? Parliamentary finance. The meeting with Miss Sammy did not set a date for sending the 2025 budget tables. So see, she went there and she only showed them probably what Sudani said she could show them. So Parliament is just dying to see the budget and to see the tables, what's been amended. And they're not getting no love, which is because Sudani knows some of them were the ones who manipulated the 2024 schedules. So now that I'm not just making up. If you remember last month, I think, or maybe the month before even now, Sudani went before Parliament and told them, I'm only showing you what you need to see, you dirty dogs. Y'all the ones who messed up 2024, right? So I'm not ad-libbing, I'm not making that up. That's something that did happen. So I just have to remind people because I know you guys have lives and you live your lives and you don't remember this stuff like I do. So then they just go on, because this is kind of lengthy. They go on and say, delaying the budget hurts the economy, blah, blah, blah. All the things, they want to complain about. So a member of the Iraqi Parliament Oil and Gas Committee confirmed the first reading of the budget law amendment has been completed, and all that remains is to conduct the second reading and vote on it. And there is a political agreement on the matter. So that's good. All right. UN envoy, this is the UN man. Remember he took Jenny from the UN's place? See how he's dressed? I don't know what he wears. I think maybe he's from Oman, and maybe that's how they dress. I'm not sure. But he's American also. But, some people have dual citizenship. So, but he gives a very good report. Iraq is stable, and we should respect their sovereignty. He praised the dedication of tribal leaders and politicians to Iraq's security and their commitment to the political process, describing their efforts as essential to the country's progress. So their elections are going to be October of 2025. I pray we are not here still, but that came out today, but I'm not going to post that because it doesn't have anything to do with the RV. And like I said, I hope we're not here. Here's my one commercial. You could buy me a coffee. This is the link, or you could use the QR code. All right, here we go again. Iraq does not have a liquidity crisis, but this is from Kurdish news. So this is from the Kurdish point of view. But this article is also some good education. Here he talks about the role of dollar auctions, what they were doing, and then they started the new system. And here he gives a little description of the role of central banks and currency printing. So it says central banks have the unique ability to create a country's national currency as needed. For Iraq, this means the central bank can produce dinars to meet the government's requirements. These dinars become a liability on the central bank's balance sheet and an asset for the holders of the dinars. So then he goes on and says a little bit more, but that's probably boring. But so if you want to read that, go to the blog and that article's there and it's free. You don't have to put in your email or anything. You just click the link, it comes up, and you're there. What triggers a liquidity crisis? And that's it. Yeah, okay. Ooh, it's 21 minutes. Okay, this is an article. Now, like this for one, is an article that's a snapshot of time. The decline in the dollar price against the Iraqi dinar in local markets. Is this the beginning of stability? So this was for the evening, 1520. The range was 1,520 dinars per dollar to 1,500. Now Friday evening, it had gotten down to 1497.5 dinars per dollar, but it always goes up over the weekend. Then Sunday, they'll do some more remittances and it'll probably go down again. I'm hoping this week it will get to like the 1450s, right? But we'll have to watch. So this decline comes in light of the efforts of the government and the Central Bank of Iraq to control the exchange market and enhance the value of the dinar. Yes, that's what we want. Okay, but say something happens, a kablooey goes off, someone of importance gets taken out. Anything could happen, and it could freak the people out, and they could want dollars again, and there will go the stability of the parallel market. So that's how the articles work. Even in our news, it's a snapshot, just like the fires that are happening here in California. In the morning, it said 8 had died. In the afternoon, the number was up to 11. See? So things change, right? Okay. Lack of planning and clear vision hinders investment in Iraq. That's plain, pretty simple. This is a member of the Parliamentary Investment Committee complaining, which, I'm sure he has a right to. And he has definite instances, but he doesn't really give solutions. He's more or less pointing out violations and just bad things that are happening that will weaken the citizens' confidence in investment projects. So, amending the investment law, the first step to combat corruption and develop the country's economic sectors. Oh, wow. Why is that picture so big? Huh. Well, oh, that one is too. Well, this is going to have to stay that way. I don't know. I didn't do that. It did it on its own. Anyway, so let's see. It is noteworthy that the reasons for amending the investment law all come in light of the deterioration of the country's infrastructure and the spread of corruption in state institutions, whose population is close to 43 million people, while the government is looking to introduce the private sector into new investment experience such as the energy sector, the health sector, in addition to new investment opportunities for cities integrated on the outskirts of the capital that can attract hundreds of thousands of residents directly. So, see, they need, I'm sure this is probably one of the laws that's been pending for years in Iraq. As a matter of fact, I think it's from 2004. Let's see, 2006. Yeah, so this is one of those laws that's probably been approved already, but it's just sitting waiting for the rate. Yeah. All right. This is the last article. My iPad is charged. All right. Okay. International Banking Day. Oh man, this guy's name was supposed to be under his picture right there. But let's see. Maybe, no, it won't have it. But anyway, so at the end of 2019, the UN, the UN approved the International Banking Day, which is held on December 4th of each year. According to its organizers, it aims to shed light on the important role played by banks in financing sustainable development, which is right up the UN's alley. That is Agenda 21, which is 2030, and also now 2050. If you don't know about Agenda 21, you really need to look into it. Okay, so he's talking about there's banks that, according to this banking law of 2004, by the end of this year, let's see, there's some time. They're supposed to be capitalized for 450 billion dinars. Oh yeah, at the end of this month. Otherwise, it will be subject to merger or cancellation. So, the takeaway from this article, in my opinion, it appears to be they're getting ready. They're getting the banks ready for international business. And then even here it says, to support the Iraqi banking sector and make it a sector qualified to deal with international banks and financial institutions according to what the international banking industry has reached. And blah, 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 modern technologies and programs to complete financial exchanges and transactions with countries of the world. So they're getting ready to go global. So this is a good article. He even ends up with saying we have to get our stuff together so we can restore confidence, and we have the aim of withdrawing the cash mass, right? So that's the money that people are holding in their homes and wherever. Yeah, so that's a pretty good article. Again, it's called International Banking Day, and it's the second to the last article. Yeah. So here's another article about Iran and the T-Man. Western report. Tehran reviews its strategy in Iraq and fears the T-Man's return. And it all depends on who you ask, because Khomeini's like, I don't fear him. The resistance is still strong, and we will continue to fight. But anyway, that's what he has to say, right? He can't come out and say, we're just going to lay down and roll over and let the West do whatever they want to us, right? There's no way he would ever come out and say that. All right, so that will end this. There's a story I want to go over, but it has nothing to do with the RV. It's just a miracle that has happened. One house is standing alone, and it's even in Iraq's news. So I'm just going to talk about that. So, all the closing stuff is going to be the same. So if you don't want to hear about this, you can hang up or whatever, disconnect. Thank you for listening. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. All right, enjoy the rest of your night. Okay, so this is one story that is in writing. This is Iraq's news. Okay, a miracle house that miraculously survived the LA fires. Look at that. Now I'll make it bigger for people who are looking on their phone. Now, if you don't know, these homes are right on the beach. This is probably Malibu Beach. You see that? They're burnt to a crisp, except this one man's home. Standing there, it maybe the front part there may have some damage, but that is a miracle. It would be different if, say, these were burned and then these were not, but all the homes on both sides of this one house are standing, and the guy whose house it is, this one's only $9 million. Some of the houses that were lost were $25 million homes. But anyway, it belongs to an American businessman, David Steiner. Yeah. So there's nothing really. Well, it says the property was designed to withstand earthquakes and features extremely solid construction, including plaster and stone walls and a fire-resistant roof. Steiner called it a miracle. So hopefully, if they rebuild, why aren't all the houses in fire areas high like Malibu? Pacific Palisades isn't really a fire, not as heavily as Malibu, right? Why aren't they all made that way? Why aren't they all made fire resistant roofs? But guess what? I bet you after this, they will be, right? Okay. And then there's another story also of some people. There's a church. Well, I was going to say here in LA. I'm not in LA anymore, but I still like to watch him. And his focus for this year is protecting. No. Enforcing your hedge of protection. And so he's, him and his parishioners or whatever you call congregants, churchgoers, that's their focus. They're focusing and reading stories in the Bible about enhancing your hedge of protection. So there's a member of that church who the night before the fires couldn't make it to church but streamed it live, and they happened to do communion, and so they did communion in their home, and guess what? Their home is the only one standing, and that's in Altadena. They interviewed them on the news. There was two stories like that, but I don't know the gentleman that they spoke to. I don't know if he is a Christian or whatever. But the one lady they interviewed, she was just in tears, just couldn't believe it, that because she saw the neighbors' homes burning, and she thought for sure when she drove back, to check, that her house would be gone too. When she saw it standing, she just couldn't believe that it was there. So I just love that miracles happen, and this one, especially this one guy, that Steiner guy, the whole world, well, anyone who sees these stories can see that miracles do happen. And I like that, and I wanted to share that with you. And you could probably put in David Steiner's Malibu home, and I bet you a story will come up about it. All right, so now this will end this blog post. I think this is episode 6. Yeah. All right. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. Our time is very valuable. And what else? I already said the thing I always say. So, if wherever you are listening or watching this, if there's a join, follow, subscribe, whatever type button like that, take whatever action is necessary to activate that button, because I don't record regularly. So if you do that and all things work as they're supposed to, when I do upload, you'll be notified. All right. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're enjoying this content. And until next time.